Good morning, everyone. Yeah, very good morning. Shall we begin the session? Yeah, today's topic is fact-finding techniques. That is a revision of the system analysis. What are the various fact-finding techniques that is available within the system analysis and the design, and what are the various facts that is available within this? So the method or the specific method that is used or the analyst use for collecting the data about the requirement is known as the fact-finding technique. So whatever the data, whatever the requirement, whatever the material, whatever the tools, method they are using about the requirement, whatever the requirement they have, whatever the data they have. So they talk about the requirements for collecting the data about the requirements are known as the fact-finding techniques. So these includes the interviews, questionnaires, record inspection, on-site review, and the observations. And the analyst usually employ more that one of these techniques to ensure or to help ensure an accurate and comprehensive investigation, so that there is a comprehensive and there is a perfect investigation that is going on, so that is used with the fact-finding technique that includes the questionnaires, that includes the interviews, on-site visit, and the observations. So first one is interview. So analysts are the uses the interviews to collect information from the individuals or from groups. So this is the duty of the analyst, that is to use the interviews to collect information, whatever the information they have from the individual or from the group. And the respondents are generally current users of the existing system or potential users of the proposed system. So it depends on the users. So whatever the respondent, whatever the user, they are available. So they are using, they are taking out the analyst, or they are taking out the existing system or the potential users of the proposed system. And in some cases, the respondents may be managers or the employee who provide the data for the proposed system or will be affected by it. And some analysts also prefer the interview, in fact, known as the fact-finding techniques, whatever the fact-finding technique that is available over here. Interview. So first is the interview, that is whatever the data, whatever the analyst that must prefer, they are used by the analyst, that must be preferred by the content that will be used, and these content may be used with the fact-finding techniques. And this is not always the source of the application data, but it is used with the analysis that is performed for this interviewing. And other methods are also used or may also be used to gather the information. For example, one is we can say the interview. One is a questionnaire. Questionnaire in the sense we are preparing the questions in a format, and the student or the, we can say the investigator or whatever the person that he or she have to fill that questionnaire that concerned with various questions. And although some analysts prefer the interview with one of the best technique for the fact-finding technique, it is not always the best source of application data. It is also used as application data, and because of the time required for the interview, other methods may also be used to gather the information to conduct an investigation. And it is also important to remember that respondent and the analyst converse during an interview. Respondent are being integrated. That means they are combined with each other, they are used with each other. Now, what are the various other fact-finding methods that will be used that is more useful for collecting the qualitative data? That may be a number, that may be a frequencies, that may be a quantities. And this method of fact-finding technique can be especially used or for gathering the information from the individual who do not communicate effectively in writing, or who may have the complete or not have the complete to complete the information. Interviews also allows analysts to misunderstand unrealistic expectations and even indicators of the resistance to a proposed system. That interviews can be either structured or either unstructured. So whatever the interview that is followed up, that can be either structured interview, that can be either unstructured interview. And unstructured interviews using a question and answer format are appropriate when an analyst wants to acquire general information about the system. That means there's a cost-benefit analysis, there's the interviews. Unstructured means there is no, we can say the specific format that is available for this. So using question answer format, that is appropriate when the analyst wants to acquire the general information about a system. And this format also encourages the respondent to share their feelings, ideas, and the beliefs. And when we see about the structured interviews, that uses the standard questions in either an open response or closed response format. And the former also allows the respondent to follow up or answer in their own words. That means this is also not specific that we are also using the specific words or in their prescribed format. And each approach has some advantages and the disadvantages also. That depends on the interview, that depends on the preparation. And the success of the interview depends on the skill or the interviewer or and on his or her preparation for the interview. That it means whenever the interview is preparing for the interviewer, that is also one of the main concern. That means analysts also need to be sensitive to the kinds of difficulties for some respondent that create during the interview and know how to deal with the potential problem. What are the various potential problem that is dealt with? They need to consider not only the relevant information, also consider the information that is conducted during an interview, but also taken out its significance also, its importance also. And it is important to have a adequate verification of the data, whatever the verification of the data that is required through other data collection methods also. So whatever the methods, whatever the failings, whatever the scenario that is available, that must be available with the data, that must be available with the significance, whatever the significance they have, whatever the data they have. So interview is done. The next one is a questionnaire. That means we are preparing a questionnaire that is a printed form, that is in the printed form, and the use of the questionnaires allows the analyst to collect the information about various aspects of system over a large or from a large number of persons. And the use of standardized question formats can also yield more reliable data than other facts finding techniques. So this is one of the best standard question format that is available within the fact finding technique, and the wide distribution also ensures greater anonymity for the respondents. So that is a wide distribution that also ensures what is the greater anonymity for the respondent, that may lead to the more honest responses. However, this method does not allow the analyst to observe the expressions or reactions of the respondent. In addition to this, a response may be limited since completing reactions or the completing the information, whatever the information that is completed out, that may know or that may not have a high priority among the respondents. So whatever the questionnaire, whatever the standard, whatever the scenario that is available, that is used for the persons. And the analyst can often use open-ended questions, whatever the open-ended question that is available with this, that we can say about the feelings, opinion, and the general experience to explore a problem or a process. And the closed questionnaires also controls a frame of reference by presenting respondent with specific responses from which to choose, and this format is very appropriate for electing the factual information, whatever the factual information, whatever the factual data that is available with this. And the high cost of developing and distributing questionnaires demand that analysts carefully consider the objective of the questionnaire and determine what structure will be most useful and what structure will be more useful to the study and most easily understood by the respondent. And the questionnaires should also be tested and if necessary modified before printing or before being printed and distributed. So it must be modified, it must be printed, it must be distributed. And as with the interviews, recipients of the questionnaire would be selected for the information that they provide, and the analyst should also ensure that the respondent background and experiences also qualify them to answer the question. Whatever the question they have, whatever the data they have, so they have to qualify that question, they have to qualify this answer. Now, interview is done, questionnaire is done. The next part is a record review. So many kinds of records, many kinds of reports, and can provide the analyst with valuable information about the organization and the operations. And in record review, analyst must examine the information that has been recorded about the system and the user. And when we say about the record inspection, that can be performed at the beginning of the study, as an introduction, then later in the study as a basis for comparing their actual operations with the code that indicates what is happening or that should be happening. So whatever the data that should be happen over here. And the records includes written policy manual, regulations, and the standard operating procedures, whatever the procedure that would be used by the most of the organizations, and the guide for the managers and the employees. And they do not show what activities are actually occurring, where the decision making power lies, or how the tasks are performed. However, they can help analysts and understand the system by familiarizing whatever the data and with what operation should be supported and with formal relation within the organization. The next one is the observation. What is the observation? How it is used with an observation, or how we are carrying out the observation within the records, within the data, how we can say the observation will be helpful in the data. Now, next part is the observations. Whatever the observation we have done that allows analysts to gain the information that they cannot obtain by using the any of the fact. What are the other facts that is available? What are the various facts that is used with the content, with the data that is available. So whatever the data that is available with the observation that is used for the observation, we can say that can be obtained by the other fact finding techniques. And through the observation, analysts can obtain the furnished or the first-hand information about how activities are carried out, and this method is more useful when any analyst needs to actually observe how documents are carried out, how documents are going on. And this method is most useful when analyst needs to actually observe how documents are handled, how they are processed, how they are carried out, and what are the observers that needs to know how to look for and how to assess the significance of what they observe. What they observe means what they are going to do, what they are looking for, what they are going to happen. So they are looking for and how to assess the significance what they observe. Now, next is what is a structured analysis. That is the set of the techniques, or we can say the group of the techniques and the graphical tools that allows the analyst to develop a new kind of the vision, new kind of the system specification that are most easily understandable by the user to the user. And the analyst works primarily with the words, pencil, and the paper, so that there's a rough idea that is available with the tools that is available with the structured analysis. And there's a traditional approach that focus on the cost benefit and the feasibility analysis, project management, hardware and the software selection, and the personal consideration. And in contrast, structured analysis consider new goals and structured tools for the analysis. So structured analysis also consider the new goals, what are the new techniques, what are the new method that is used with the tools that is used for the analysis. And the new goals also specify the following: use the graphics wherever possible to help communicate better with the users, differentiate between the logical and the physical systems, and build a logical system model to familiarize the user with system specification and the interrelationship before the implementation. Whatever the data, whatever the tool that is available, that is familiarized with the system, with the user, with the system characteristics and the interrelationship before the implementation. And the structured tools also focus on the listed earlier, especially the data flow diagrams, data dictionary, structured English, decision tree, and the decision table. And the objective is to build a new system known as the system specification. And this document also provides the basis for the design and the implementation. And whatever the system implementation, whatever the system development life cycle with the structured analysis, that is the main step, that is the main aim that is available with this one. And this study also affected the user areas, resulting in the physical DFD, and the logical equivalent of the present system results in a logical DFD. So this results in a logical DFD that is used with the system study, that is used with the physical DFD. Then next is remove the physical checkpoints and also replaces them with a logical equivalent, resulting in the logical DFD. Now, model the new logical system. That means we can say that there is a new logical system that is obtained. So far, no consideration is given to modify the method that is known in the feasibility study, feasibility report, and this step also incorporates the changes that begins to describe the candidate system, that is essentially a paper model system, paper-based model to be installed, and then establish a new technology that is used, then quantify the cost benefit analysis and also select the we can say the analysis part. Then in summary, structured analysis has the following attributes. First is it is graphics, then process is partition so that we have a clear picture of the progression from what the data is needed, how the data is needed, and where the data is needed. So what is the system flow? That it is logical rather than the physical. Then the elements of a system which do not depend on vendor or the hardware, they specify in a precise manner. They specify in a concise manner. They use with the we can say the manner with the working of the system and how it hangs together, and it calls for a rigorous study of the user area, commitment that is often taken lightly in the traditional approach to system analysis. And the certain tasks that are normally carried out late in the system development lifecycle are moved to the analysis phase. For example, when you see about the user procedures that are documented during the rather than later in the implementation, but it's over the data that is used with the implementation part. The next one is a DFD, that is a data flow diagram. And this is also known as a bubble chart that has a purpose of clarifying the system requirements and also identifying the major transformation that will come program or that will come in the program in a system design. So it is a starting point of the system design that has functionally decomposed the requirement specification down to the lowest level of the detail, whatever the detail that is gathered. And the DFD also consists of a series of the bubbles that is joined by the lines. And these bubbles represent the data transformation and the lines representing the data flows in the system. And the system takes the order from the customer, check them against an index file listing the books available, verifies the customer did credit through a credit information file, and authorizes shipment with an invoice. Then next is a DFD symbol. So whatsoever the DFD symbol that is available with the data. So in a DFD there are 4 symbols that is used, that is a square that defines a source or the destination, then arrow, then circle, bubble, then open rectangle that elaborate the logical functions of the system. Now how to construct a DFD, that is the next part. This is typically used with the data analysis with the data part that is available with this. Then defining the data structure, decision tree. This I'm going to take within the next class, that is the decision tree. So any doubts, anyone, then please clarify the doubts. Anything that you want to ask about the assignment, about this module, anything. All right. So thanks a lot, everyone. Bye bye. So whatsoever the data, whatsoever the trees, whatsoever the analysis that we have done, that is used for the data analysis, that is used for the designing. So we are going. Yes, we are covering right now what are the various decisions, what are the various focuses, that is focus on the decision trees, decision tools. So whatsoever the data that is available, that relies on the data that is used in the data. So that is used for the make the modifications in the content, make well that is available within the data, that realizes how it is gathered, why it is gathered, and to whom it is gathered. So this is used for the implementation of the decision tree, decision table that is used with the data. Now when we talk about the DFD, that is also used with the data flow diagram, that is used with the data dictionary of how and when it is consented out, how and when it is used down. So this is the way of saying the same with the example, that is the discount condition that is discussed in the last example, that is way. So greater than the 10,000, greater than the or equals to the 5,000, but less than or equals to 10,000. Then not less than 15,000, not more than 10,000, but at least 5,000 or less than 5,000. So these are the various, we can see the commitment or the condition that is specified with the DFD data dictionary. Now, the question arises with the data dictionary, that is a repository of the information. What is a repository? That is a collection of the information or the database of the information. So when we combine multiple